Hello everybody, welcome to another After Effects CS6 tutorial. I'm your host, Buddy Blackford, and today I want to show you how to animate your camera and explain to you the different types of camera moves. And these camera moves are based on real life actual camera moves that film producers and videographers and all those guys that work on movies and stuff actually use. So there's about 7 of them, I would say. I think there's 7, and I'm gonna go over each one with you and let you know a little bit about each one. So the first one I want to start out with is actually called a zoom, and I'm sure everybody knows what a zoom is, but how do you do it correctly in After Effects? So on your camera here, if you click on it and twirl down these options, you'll get this section called camera options here. Now twirl that down, and the first thing you can see is zoom. Now just move that back and forth, and then you'll get your zoom option there. Now you might be thinking to yourself, why can't I just use this Track Z camera tool, if you've used this tool before, and move in like this? Well, that's different. If you look at the camera when I'm doing the Track Z here, you can see in the custom view over here, you can see that the camera is moving back and forth. Now that is called a track and not a zoom. Now watch when I zoom. Now you can see that the actual field of view is changing and not where the camera position is. So that's different. That way you can actually move how zoomed in your scene is without actually moving in your camera, which is should have been self-explanatory. The next I want to show you is what a track is. Now this is physically moving the camera from either left to right, up or down, or in. So it's based off of if you've ever seen like a behind the scenes video, companies filmers will lay a track, an actual like railroad looking track down, and put a camera on like a tripod on wheels on the track and move it in for a nice smooth view. So if I just use these Track XY or Track Z camera tools like this, you can see in the left view there, in the custom view, that the camera moves from left to right. If you hold shift, it'll constrain from left to right, or if you hold shift and are moving up and down in the y-axis, well, it'll move up and down in the y-axis as long as you're still at the starting point. So if I move over here and I try to move up and down, it's not going to work. So I have to go back to where the camera was originally in the beginning, which was somewhere around here, right here, and now I'll be able to move up and down using shift. Same thing with the X and Y axis. So I'm going to hit Control Z so I can get back to where I was. And those are called tracks. The next camera moves I want to show you are called tilts and pans, and these deal with the orientation or rotation properties here. So I'm gonna open up my transform here, and we're going to animate what a pan looks like. We're going to animate the orientation here. Let me go on my selection tool, and that's going to be on the y-axis, and this is called a pan. Now you can think of the camera as being on top of a tripod where you can't actually move it. So this is left to right, this is a pan. Now if you go on the x-axis here, this is called a tilt, and this is up and down. So this is a tilt. This type of camera move here, where you use the z-axis and it kind of rotates, that's not a very popular camera move, and it's only used in specific situations, and nobody really has a name for it. At least, I mean, I don't know the name for it because no one ever wants to use it. It's visually jarring and does not look very good. Now, you may hear other people call some of these different names. So, in After Effects, the Track XY camera tool and the Track Z camera tool may have different names depending on who you're working with. So if you have someone that's not familiar with After Effects, that's familiar with filming, they'll call a left and right camera move, it would be called a truck. So that's this, and that's what we call Track X in After Effects. And when you move the camera up and down like this, that would be called a pedestal. So that is a pedestal camera move, up and down on the y-axis. And I'll put it back in the middle. And then if we go to the Track Z camera here, this is usually also mostly called a track, but other people might call it a truck. So this is a track or a truck. Now, actually animating any of these properties is just like animating position or rotation in like a solid, like an image layer or anything like that. So you just need to keyframe the value that you want to move. So I'll go position here, and then I'll move a couple seconds in, and then just use my Track Z tool to track in. And we've got a track there. So that's easy enough for moving your camera around. You can use the graph editor to edit your camera moves. You can use Easy Ease keyframes. I pressed F9 to get the Easy Ease keyframe, and all the other types of keyframing abilities are available on your cameras. Now, you may notice that some camera properties here are different. So point of interest here is basically the anchor point. Now I'm going to use my unified camera tool in my custom view over here. So if you move around in the custom view, it doesn't mess around with your actual camera view. And right here in the middle, I can zoom in as much as I want, but it'll stay the same size. But right here where my mouse is, that is your point of interest. And if I move that around, you can also do different camera moves, like the tilt right here as I'm moving the X and Y. But normally you want to keep your point of interest the same. So it'll always be in that area unless you're trying to use the same type of camera move to view something else somewhere else in the scene. The hotkey for point of interest is A, actually, and it just switches out the anchor point. Now, if I twirl back down into our other transform properties, you'll notice that scale isn't on here. You cannot scale a camera. So you might have thought that it would have been the zoom feature, but remember that zoom is in the camera options. So that's all I need to say for animating your camera. It's the same way you can animate a like animate anything else, pretty much. If you want to animate a shape or a vector or anything like that, it's the same. So thanks for watching the tutorial. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next tutorial, and I thank you for supporting all the videos I've done so far. Have a good one, everybody.